Hi friends. I've been meaning to make my YouTube video debut for a while now, but I'm kind of shy about these things, and I know I'm not alone there. Some friends and I dared each other to kind of, I'll show you mine if you show me yours kind of way to push ourselves into recording something. I don't know why I'm so shy about these things, but I have some coffee in me, so I'm okay. I'm really excited about our newest WLH2 shirt. I wanted to talk a little bit about this word, which is really two words, before I set off a bunch of them throughout the world. First of all, thanks to all our fans, friends, and supporters worldwide. I'm not exaggerating when I say that it's a dream come true to have folks saying "We live here too" all over this weird blue planet. I've got a little contest for y'all near the end of the video if you want to get your grubby little hands on one for free. More about that later. This word, unemployable, is pregnant with meaning, but I thought I would try and unpack it a little bit and share some of what I'm thinking about and what motivated me to put it on a shirt. I want to say first of all that I recognize there's a lot one can say about this word, and in no way am I attempting to exhaust all of those ideas. Additionally, I can understand a problematic initial response to the shirt being, boo-hoo, white male complaining about how he can't get a job, big deal. I recognize the difficulties inherent in trying to represent difference or disability visually, but I've also been thinking about the ways in which certain things are written upon us, and conversely how those things are read. This inscriptive body is a surface on which social law, morality, and values are inscribed or written. So I wanted to use a blank face as a space and a site to write on, think, and talk about some of those ideas. There are certain things we can do to acculturate our bodies, like getting tattooed or pierced, and sometimes those decisions place the body firmly into binaries like employable or unemployable. And despite my focus on this one word, trust that I am seeking to problematize all binaries. Unemployable is a word I'm sure most of you have thought about in some way before. It has a lot of meanings. It is simultaneously a status, a state of being, and a threat. Unemployable is something you can become. It's a state you may slide into at some point in your life for a number of reasons. It's a marker and a status that others apply onto you. It's a label and a crown that you are forced to wear because of other people's judgments. There are a number of ways to acquire this distinction. Perhaps you are marked from birth. Perhaps it's a choice, it's a personal choice, or perhaps it's circumstance. There are plenty of things that can make you unemployable. Maybe you have facial piercings or tattoos that would scare somebody's grandma. Maybe nobody will hire you because you have a mohawk, or bright pink hair, or no hair at all. Maybe your skin is not the right hue, or your accent isn't good enough for your employer. Maybe you have a disability that prevents you getting further than an interview, or perhaps it means you don't even get that far. What it boils down to is that, as a status, unemployable is always one that is gifted to you. You become marked or blacklisted because of the way your body is inscribed with cultural or gender-based or racialized standards. Your body is stamped, actually, B grade, outsider, fuck up, unable. It always comes back to the body. The word unemployable is also used as a threat in circumstances where an otherwise normative body flirts too closely with the possibility of tarnishing it forever. You might hear it from parents or peers or even your own inner voice when you announce that, yes, you do want to get your cheeks pierced, or perhaps you want to get something tattooed on a visible portion of your body. They might say, oh no, you don't want to get a tattoo there, you'll never get a job. Why don't you just tattoo that on your ass instead? I mean, yes, society does accept certain tattoos, and more we are celebrating the full sleeve or neck or knuckle tattoos or whatever. That's not really what I'm interested in. What's really at play here is the way that our own bodies become occupied by others, by social codes, through their visibility. In some way, all or portions of our bodies are subject to scrutiny with regard to how they fit within certain established norms. Essentially a binary of able, unable, to work in this case. Employable, unemployable, able bodies, disablised bodies. If your body doesn't fit within that binary, you are marked as unfit, regardless of your physical or mental capacities. Specifically in the case of body modifications, there also seems to be a certain point at which our bodies are no longer ours. You can trace these points. After a certain point, the way your body is read makes you ineligible for certain kinds of employment, or you might be asked to cover up the most offending portions of your skin, even on the hottest days of summer. We've internalized those judgments and voices that seek to moderate our bodies. Anytime we decide or are persuaded to tattoo our shoulders instead of our hands, wrists, or faces, we are flirting with the precipice. We make a decision between this binary of employable, unemployable. we decide to either play along or become a fuck-up. I'm thinking a lot about how these corporeal inscriptions of deficiency produce and privilege a particular understanding of normalcy or normal bodies, how we are written into these binaries by our bodies. Even if you are deemed to have an acceptable body, you're still stamped. It's just a big red seal of approval on the forehead. Trust that I am interested in fucking with all of those distinctions in one of the only ways I know how. I seek to celebrate all of those things that mark us. I want to swim in and blur all of the lines between accepted visibilities. What else is going on when we hear the word unemployable? It's a severely ableist term that also infects the sexed, classed, and racialized bodies of those anchored on the periphery of a normalized society. For me, that's precisely what this whole project is hinged on. People often ask me, okay, we live here too, sure, but where is here? What does that mean? Here is that periphery, it's that outside fringe. We've all arrived here at this point from a number of trajectories, but we're here together. I choose to champion unemployable and therefore change it into a kind of badge. I want to celebrate all of that shit that makes us unemployable, that makes us fuck-ups, that marks us as outsiders, that brings us all together as a community. I want to keep thinking about those ideas, about this word, and all the ways that it extends beyond getting a job. It also stands for being unfuckable, unkissable, unlovable, undesirable, and all the other shit that we internalize about the state of our bodies. Most importantly, I want to keep talking about these things. These are just some of my ideas, some of my thoughts, but I'm really excited by a proliferation of voices and ideas. I started making t-shirts as a way to generate some funds to keep We Live Here 2 going, to give it a kind of momentum, but also because I wanted people to wear them. I have them for sale, links are here, but I also want to give out a bunch as well. First, I want to hear your ideas. What do you have to say about the word? I want to hear from you too. I want to hear about what makes you unemployable, what makes you a fuck-up. How do you resist that shit? How do you turn it around? What are the ways you found to celebrate that? How do you take the power of that word for yourself and carry it like a torch? How do you say, we live here too? The nature of a discursive project concerned with disability is that it is a kind of resistance in itself, and I'd like to use YouTube, especially YouTube videos, as one side of struggle. We Live Here Too is a project that is concerned primarily with spaces and the ways that we occupy them, collectively. I'd like to use this introduction to YouTube as a chance to struggle together in a space without stairs or physical obstacles. Maybe some shyness, trust, but that's an obstacle we can get around through anonymity. Okay, on to the contest. I'd love some responses to this video, preferably with a video of your own. I'd love to read your words, but I really want to hear your voices. I want to see your bodies taking up a little box of space for a few moments. Let's carve out a little virtual spot in our own unique shapes to fit ourselves in. I'm going to send out a bunch of free t-shirts for the most interesting or funniest, personal or well-crafted responses. To be honest, I kind of hate the idea of calling it a contest because it's not really a competition and there's a bunch of winners. So it's more of a giveaway, but if calling it a contest will motivate you A-types to contribute or make your first YouTube video, then yeah, it's a contest, woohoo! I'll get in touch with and send shirts out to the 5 of the people whose responses I dig the most, with no considerations of hierarchy, skill, education, or anything but how excited you are to talk about these things. Every single other person, really, every single other person to respond with a video or some kind of other well-crafted response that you upload to YouTube, like a photo essay or some other story, will get a discount code for 50% off any tee or poster from our online store. A quick shout out to Seneca Press for their expertise in water-based, eco-friendly discharge printing, for Mexican artist Fake Fake, also known as Sonar and Minties, for his design and play with words, to my homeboys Nietzsche and Foucault for helping me think about the inscribed body, to Elizabeth Grash's book Volatile Bodies, and to Fiona Campbell's work on the disablised body. Links abound. Big love. Let's talk.